Now we're in for a treat today because one of my favourite winter flowering shrubs has popped properly in the last week, and it's this one over my shoulder, which is Hamamelis pallida. And the Hamamelis, or the witch hazels to use their common name, are a really widely grown shrub throughout the UK and well beyond in Europe and elsewhere. And essentially, if you look this up as a plant, it's always classed as a woodland shrub. And what that tells you is that the light levels needed or most suited to it need to be sort of light shade rather than heavy shade. And if you can sort of embrace those conditions and you've got the space for it, it's not an overly enormous plant. It gets to about 3 meters by 3 meters, so approximately 10 feet by 10 feet. Now, there's two important things you have to think about with the growing conditions for Hamamelis. Focus on the soil. It needs good quality soil, and the other sort of element to think about with soil is the moisture levels, because during the winter it doesn't want to get overly wet. They really don't like that, but on the flip side, during the summer they don't want to get too dry, so sort of countering that is to make sure that you mulch them well in the springtime, which makes a massive difference. But if your soil is really on the heavy side and prone to getting really heavy and wet, probably don't consider this as an option. Perhaps look elsewhere. One of the other questions I often get with this particular plant from people is, why are they so expensive as a young plant? And there's two reasons for that. It's the rate of growth, which is relatively slow, which always plays a part. And the other factor is they're grafted. And when anything's grafted, it requires more skill, more time on the nursery where they've been produced. And therefore, the two combined means that they tend to be more expensive than other shrubs which might be seed grown or taken from cuttings and grow that bit faster. Keep an eye out for some different varieties. This is pallida, which is probably the most widely grown, but there are some other beautiful cultivars, including Diane, Jelena, with sort of variations on sort of oranges and reds. I do love the sulphurous yellow of pallida, though. It lifts a dark corner on quite a dull day like we've got today. It's amazing how that yellow colour comes through. Essentially, they're very tough plants, very hardy, and once they are settled in, the rate of growth is pretty good. What you're looking at behind me is an 8-year-old plant, and now that the conditions here are sort of it's settled in, it's got a decent root system, it's really going to start ramping up now, and it's an absolute delight. So in a few weeks I'm going to come back to this part of the garden because all sorts of beautiful things starting to poke through, including some rather fabulous hellebores. But for now, let's just enjoy this Hamamelis pallida, and I'll see you soon on the next video.